It's the small mercies, Jake says. Yeah, for sure. Oh man. Well, we're back with another week. Halo
Was
surprisingly
there?
got worse.
Yeah, I know. I was like, am I the only one that thinks this? And so I perused at some of the some people's reviews,
Yeah.
and there are quite a few people I saw that they thought that this episode got better from the second one. I'm like,
What?
you really think I was frustrated with this episode more so than the previous two because with at the end of the second one I was thinking, okay, maybe with the third one we're going to pick it up more. The pay, the stakes, the tension, the
Well, they
pacing,
set it up
and
that way in the second at the end of the second episode. You think,
yeah,
and so I mean, you could call it a bait and switch, I guess, if you want. Um, but yeah, they set it up like, oh, okay, they're headed to Reach. We have lady Halo lady, whose name I've forgotten. She has a weird name. The blonde lady, the
oh,
McKee, right?
McKee, yeah,
McKee, that's what it is. And they do that whole thing in what we think is Arbiter, which we still haven't gotten confirmation on that I'm aware of. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, like at least they're doing some sort of intrigue with that. And then the new episode, they're just like, no, 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 don't worry about any of that. And this whole thing with them going to Reach, like, it doesn't actually matter. Like, they're gonna go do something and then be brought back immediately to go back in. And if I remember correctly, this is some of the same stuff that happened in the first season as well, where they would set these things up like we were headed in a certain direction, and then just like yank you back into all the boring people talking in
yes.
room stuff.
No, and that's exactly right. They set it up at the end of the last episode to think, okay, we're going to be able to see Chief go on this search and rescue for Cobalt, right? Which is what I thought the emphasis of the third episode was going to be,
Yeah.
coupled with some more incidences with Reach and getting closer to the fall of it, right? And man, it just like they handle it in just the first, 5, maybe 10 minutes, and then you're done, you're out of there, and it's just everything else is boring for the most part, boring subplots that don't matter. And so I guess, to talk about the things that I liked about the third episode to start positively, because there's very few things. I enjoyed the intro with them searching for Cobalt Team and, trying to gain evidence of the Covenant, right? And again, the problem is that they just immediately cut away from it. And I enjoyed the interaction later on between Keys and Ackerson. I thought that was probably some of the best dialogue and tensions and stakes that's been in the show, and we can touch on that more later. And the only other thing I liked was I kind of like how they attempted to add depth to Ackerson, is it Ackerson? Ackerson's character, um, with his interactions with his father. Do you remember that?
Oh, right. Yeah, that plot point. Well,
But I just didn't really care.
I
Like I
yeah,
like that they attempted to add depth to it, but
yeah.
it didn't really hit for
Dude,
me.
the problem is that they're spending all of this time with a bunch of people and none of it matters.
Yep. It seems all disconnected from the main threat. Like when you're
Yeah.
facing global annihilation of your people, everything else seems minor. And I
Well,
think
yeah, and
not understanding the proper stakes, it's not that you can't show the stuff along the way, but I think just because they have started off on the wrong foot, it
it's the problem that we were talking about last week where it's like this isn't Game of Thrones. You
yes.
cannot have an entire episode with people talking in rooms because there is no one who commands the screen on this show. Some of that is due to dialogue, some of that is due to acting, some of it is
Yep.
just I guess dialogue and script are the same thing, but like it's a mix of those things where you have these people on the screen and like I, Master Chief is still just like a big whiny baby who's just like
Yep.
stuck in his fifis all the time, and I'm like, I hate this. I was like, I don't think that he should be doing any of these things. Like he's constantly getting like put down by everybody around him,
Yep.
and I'm like, dude, I want to see Halo, like see Halo. I want to see Master Chief fighting like people and going to try to like save people and like
and being
discover
competent
and
and
discovering
being a hero.
being out there discovering stuff. Like it's ridiculous to me that they're at the end of episode 2 he goes, all right, we're going to reach. And it's this thing where it's like, oh, he's not supposed to be doing this. And it's like, oh, cool. There's some tension there. Like, they're going to go out. Maybe they're going to, like, find the team and they're going to realize something was wrong. And then, that we'll get, like, a firefight or whatever. And then, they'll have to come back. But they're not doing any of that. They're not doing any of that. They walk around in a room with their guns up. They get held up by other Marines or somebody in the show. And then they're right back on the same planet again, and then everybody's talking in rooms, and it's stupid drama that nobody cares about. And his new girlfriend, and I keep thinking I might actually have been right about that. He's got a new relationship this season. Makee is definitely killing her too. 100%. 100%.
And Riz is definitely dying. They're setting her up to die. She's definitely dying in the next episode, and, the following episode, and nobody's gonna care.
It's so frustrating because there are ideas here. Some themes in the show that if it was a more competent show could work. It's like they're seemingly trying to like they're not doing it, but they are attempting to set up this theme of like faith and what do you believe in, and everyone, a few of the characters are kind of going through that like thematic arc. And the problem is that it's just like, why are we spending so much time with all these characters that like aren't chief and like a core? Like if it was this core group of people and the script was a lot tighter, that would be great. But it feels like they had to add all these characters in because they don't know what to do with the time that they need to fill out the show.
Yes, 100% to where everything, you have all these disconnected threads, but none of them are joined together.
Yeah.
And none of them are consistent and provide cohesion to the main storyline. And I think you hit the nail on the head with saying there's way too many characters in this. And then also with the thematic routes they're trying to take with the overarching narrative, and then with the individual characters like Riz, for example. I like the idea of, okay, her trying to reevaluate, do I really want the Spartan life, or is there more out there with family and everything?
Yeah.
It doesn't add, because it's like,
well, and they
did a soft reboot, and I think they just needed to do a hard reboot and just completely screw it. Quad got killed, and for those who don't know, that's what I call Quan. Quad for me. And Makee, and like just do away with all these characters, and then just really hone in on. I would have just honed in on Master Chief, Cortana, Riz or Raz, whatever her name is, Kai, and Vanek, and then do some with the Covenant, like maybe the Arbiter, the Covenant.
You have
leaders.
Arbiter. You have Arbiter on the other side of that, because the Covenant deserve more screen time than they've gotten too. It would be nice for them to kind of get into the mind of the Covenant so that you're getting to see both sides of it. I wouldn't mind that at all from his perspective,
Yeah, and if diversity is an issue, like from Paramount's perspective, they operate from a checkbox. You think you could fulfill the diversity within this show how you need to where it can be good still. You know what I mean? And so,
well, yeah, I mean,
it's just like, again, it's like, why are we still doing this with Quad? Why are we focused on Rubble? Why are there so many characters? Like, why can't you just stay focused on a narrative? Because Quan's storyline still seems disconnected from the main storyline. With when you're facing the annihilation of an entire planet, like essentially you're second. Because correct me if I'm wrong, David, but Reaches is like the second main planet, and then you have Earth. Correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
Halo lore is not exactly my forte.
Yeah, it's not mine either, but I think that's the case. Like Reach is number 2, and then Earth is number 1. And so you have this like huge, humongous threat, and yet you have this issue that you should be dealing with at hand. Yet they turn and focus on Quan to shove in a character that should have been killed off.
Just probably shouldn't have existed. Yeah, I mean, it's just there was
shouldn't have existed, or at least killed off, rather than shoving it down our throats.
Yeah, but they keep keep her around because she's basically invincible. I mean, she's pretty close to a Mary Sue in this. I don't know if you
Yes.
noticed that, but like
Yeah.
she just like
That
she
first episode
can't.
didn't give it away, or the second
Yeah,
episode when she tossed that dude.
she tossed that dude and like killed put that
Dude,
one
he
guy
went
out.
like flying 80 feet.
Yeah, and then like
It
in
was
this
so weird.
one, she's just winning all the time. Um,
Dude, and it's like, how hard is it to know that we are interested in Halo, Master Chief, Cortana, his team, the Pillar of Autumn, the Covenant, and the Arbiter? Just stay focused on that. The Covenant. Like it's real. It really was not a difficult show to write to get for it to be successful.
yeah,
And there's just not
yeah,
like
dude. They again, this is another example of them having the groundwork. You have multiple books that you could have pulled from to
and
create
video games.
something. Yeah, you could have set this up. I mean, again, and I think this is the case with. We've talked about it before, but I think this is the case with a lot of this stuff. Witcher is a prime example that
I was just
they
thinking
don't
about The
they
Witcher.
don't want to make a Halo show. They have the rights to Halo, and they need to keep the rights to Halo, so they're making a Halo quote unquote show, but it's really just this like weird drama that they want to make. And it's just like, who wants to watch this? I
Yeah,
don't. Have
dude.
you seen anything on the numbers? I haven't really taken the time to look yet. Nobody's really talking about it.
No, no one's
Um,
really talking about it.
February
I have
15th.
not checked the numbers on this. However, I will say that, oh man, there was something that you said. I just forgot it right when I was about to say it. But anyway, no, I'm not checking numbers on it.
Um, yeah. Maybe I'll try to do that before next week, but
But yeah, like
dude,
as I was saying, it's just like it was successful to write. And oh, I remember what I was gonna say is like with shows like Halo and The Witcher, it seems and Rings of Power that the showrunners already have a script made of their story they want to tell, right? And so
yeah,
it's not about telling a Lord of the Rings story, for example. It's not about telling a Witcher story. It's not about telling a Halo story. It's about telling their story with inserting Master Chief in this role and this
hmm
person in this role
hmm
and and so that's why we're not getting uh, an honest depiction of The Witcher or a genuine depiction of The Witcher. That's why we're not getting a genuine depiction of Halo. That's why we're not getting a genuine depiction of, the Second
because
Age of
yeah,
Middle Earth because they're not focused on the author and what the fans want. They're focused on their own desires and their own ends. They're not really trying to do an adaptation. It's just in name only. They're just trying to use the IP to tell what they really want to tell.
yeah, and there could have you were kind of talking about like the diversity angle earlier, and like if you were trying to make it like work within that, why not have Key's daughter be sort of uh the person that we follow through some of the more political aspects of it, right? Because
Hmm.
she's not in command. There's a lot of drama that could come up with her character and working with all of that. And then Master Chief and his team are your so you get rid of all the Quan stuff. Like we'd have to go back and do season 1 all over again. Now and again, this is if like you're forced sort of into this scenario and we're not just going we're going to just adapt the books and then we'll get through like if it's successful and we get through enough seasons maybe we'll consider adapting the games after that.
Yeah.
Halo 1 through 3 and then maybe just in a perfect world we would be done there even for a successful show. um but
I
the
think how you could have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
but that's I think if we're taking what kind of what we're given, you have your political side. You need to hire people who can absolutely act, and more than anything, the writing has to be on point, and the drama and the tension actually has to be there. And then like I keep wanting to every time I want to say Master Chief, I keep saying Halo. I don't know what's in my head that's making me do that right now. But the Master Chief stuff is where you get the breakup from people talking in rooms, so you get some good action scenes. You definitely need to have something going on with Master Chief and his team every single episode, even if it's not a big firefight. Um,
Hmm.
because, dude, this whole episode is just like I was like, man, I'm missing. I just want him to shoot something. Like,
Yeah.
can we have some Covenant and Spartans fighting each other? Like, this is pathetic.
It's so easy, dude. And that's what I'm saying. I think season 2 should have been open with, you know, Master Chief is waking up from being in a coma for a while because he got in a bad fight, and you know, you have him say, "You're not gonna believe what I was dreaming," and it's all of season 1 that happened, and it's like, "Oh yeah, none of that happened.
Yep.
Yeah, you were out, you got in a bad fight with the Covenant, and you just completely move on. Whatever
Yeah.
bullcrap you want to say, I don't care. Season 1 was so bad, you could just say whatever you want to say and call it, and just move on from it.
Yep.
Like, just don't even acknowledge it. This
Yeah.
whole idea of doing a soft reboot to try and ease out from season 1 to me is just, and maybe I'm wrong, and you could do a soft reboot, and this is just not the way to do it.
Well, you could.
And it's just not written well, and you could have easily just I mean, they had the chance to completely not worry about Mackie at the end of season 1. She could have just been dead. And since
Yeah.
Magridraw, what's it called?
I always want to call it magical.
Yeah.
Madrigal.
Madrigal,
Yeah,
I think it
Madrigal,
is.
I think is what it is.
And it got glass because that could have explained away Quan right there.
Yeah, Quan could have gotten caught up in that, or I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, you could.
Or maybe you say Rubble got glass too, where Soren's out, and if you wanted to keep Soren, he escaped somehow.
So many times over the years, television shows have killed off characters for a number of different reasons, to varying effects, but it can work. And then shows have evaluated and course corrected. So and the one that I don't know if we've talked about on the show, but I know you and I have talked about this before, is the difference between season 1 of Parks and Rec and season 2 of Parks and Rec. There clearly was a discussion about the writing in season 1 and the way that they were going through season 1, and they went, we have to do something different. Because like, you watch season 1 and you're like, this is not that great. Like, if you try to start with season 1 of Parks and Rec,
it's bad.
You're probably not going to keep going. Like, I'm pretty sure the first time I tried to watch it, I couldn't get through season 1, and I was like, dude, I don't know why people like the show, and I stopped watching it. And then at some point, I don't remember if I just kind of like vaguely got through season 1, like I was sort of watching it, but it was on in the background, and then started paying more attention in season 2, and I was like, wow, it's like a different show. I mean, it is almost a completely different show, with the same character, like with the same cast. So it is possible. Another example, and this is a little bit different, but I think it's in season 1 of Angel, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer spinoff. There's a character in it, and I can't remember if there was some drama on set or what happened, but they kill his character off maybe like 5 or 6 episodes in, and it's actually quite emotional and works pretty well, and they did it because of either like contract stuff, or he ended up leaving because there was just like bad blood or something was going on. So you can make that stuff work. But that's the thing, is that like, we're in an age where I don't think that any of these people are self-aware enough or care enough to get any of that done. It's like I've been telling you, it's content for content's sake. They just need it there. It needs to be part of their platform.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if the Paramount execs got involved and just doubled down on Quan having to stay in and told the showrunner that.
Maybe.
And along with Mackie as well.
But it's dead, dude. I mean, like...
it really is dead. There is not a lot of action, so if you want that, you're going to be disappointed. But if you like character development, then you're not going to like it either, because none of that's there.
Yeah, so you know, you wrote some stuff down about this episode. Did anything develop for anybody? Because I mean, Master Chief and his team, his team literally went backwards.
I mean, I guess if you want to say that Kai development so far is growing from
that's maybe
not
fair.
trusting Chief to now not trusting. However, the setup and payoff there for me doesn't connect, because it seems forced. It doesn't seem natural.
And it could be that by the end of it, she's back on board. You know what I mean? So it's.
I kind of think they're setting her up to be a
villain,
her own,
or like
no. her own like leader of the team.
Oh.
I kind of think that's the route they're going with her. We'll see. But I mean, as we were talking about earlier, the pacing is off in this episode, and I think it's just a symptom of poor quality writing and editing, as you were mentioning too. And there being too many characters, their own sub narratives going on, being portrayed without me being able to connect with them, because they're just very generic and subpar. And you were saying this last week, and it really had me thinking this week. There's just no connecting thread between the pieces, and again, I think the main issue, as I keep beating the same soapbox, repeating the same song like a broken record, is that when you're in the face of global annihilation from a covenant, from a foreign entity, right? That seems to make everything else pale in comparison.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, we don't even have that much interaction with Covenant. It almost seems as if the writers are annoyed they have to include them in there, unless they're trying to go for this kind of enigma sort of route with them. But, you stated earlier, and funny enough, I have it in my notes, to where why Game of Thrones ruin other shows is because the writers think they need all these various characters across their own universe.
Yeah, we
with
talk
their
about
own
it.
narratives happening.
Yeah.
When this episode should have just been solely focused on what's going on Reach.
Yeah,
That's all you needed to do.
We talk about it all
And
the time.
sometimes simple is better. You corrected me on that last week or the week before last, when we were talking about our value for value, and you were like, yeah, man, it's always, simple is the better way a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, complex stories are great, but if you can't make the pieces work together, like, just don't do it. There is something really nice to simplicity. And hello to Jay's daddy and Jake D and Zach's. It's been a while, Zach.
In the troll room.
Yeah, glad to see you guys here, hanging out in the troll room. But yeah, man, I don't know.
It's like if they wanted additional characters across. Again, what they're trying to do is have all these additional characters across the universe that eventually converge.
Mm-hmm.
When, again, they should have just showed us the Covenant and how their society functions and the different aspects of their culture, and do the setup for us to connect with them. And there's your additional characters and, way to connect them in a thread that's essentially like Game of Thrones, if you want to call it that. But it really does seem like they're trying to write Game of Thrones, and it's like, forget about it. Show us what we want to see. And I don't think anybody starts out, I could be wrong, I'm not a professional writer, I've never claimed to be a professional a critic or anything like that either. But I wonder how many writers sit down and say, I'm going to write a complex storyline. I'm going to write a complex script. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think
anybody starts like that. They just develop things from a simple
people. People are interested.
Ideas.
People are interested in very specific things, and that's how they just end up writing stuff. And sometimes it's good. I mean, like, I don't know. I wonder sometimes take like George R.R. Martin and even the stuff that he's written. I mean, anyone will tell you that he probably goes too in detail about like the food that's being eaten on, someone's table or whatever. I mean, if you look at the guy, he clearly thinks about food a lot. But it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's like, ooh, this is such great world building. Like, I really needed to know what Jon Snow had for lunch today, and in like insane detail. But it depends. It really does depend. It depends on the writer. I think some people pull it off better than others, and again, it's why criticism in any form is needed, but why it's also important to have people who are like peers to, George R.R. Martin needs someone around him to be like, finish your books, dude. Set this up. You need to do something about this. Like, you honestly, you may not believe it, but you owe this to the people who have supported you over the years.
Right.
Same thing with a lot of dude, someone needs to tell Zack Snyder no.
Oh, yeah.
Someone needs to be
And I'll
like,
say it.
someone needs to
Probably
tell
tell
his
Christopher
editor,
Nolan,
like,
though, on
ne-
something.
yeah, the next time they put all this slow motion in one of his movies, you need to be like, no, don't do this. I will actually, we will probably, I'll mention, if you remind me to, I'll mention Zack Snyder again, because I saw this meme about Madam Web, and some guy, some Snyder bro was trying to defend, being like, I hope more people saw Rebel Moon than see Madam Web. And I don't typically get into interactions with people on Twitter, but I really wanted to be like, they're both equally bad. Like, these movies are of equally bad, and
I think
one of
I
them's
think
at
Rebel
least
Moon
kind of
is
funny.
worse.
That was what I was going to say, is like, I
From an
think
entertainment perspective.
from an entertainment perspective, Madam Web might actually be a little bit more entertaining. But they're,
I mean,
no,
for all the
from,
wrong reasons.
from
but
from a technical perspective, they're pretty much on equal par,
Yes,
as far as I'm
completely
concerned.
agree.
I don't think that either one of those movies is very good. And the thing is people would be like, "What?" We're like, "No, they're both that bad. They are both that bad. They both have incomprehensible story." Well, anyway, we'll get into it. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, with this, it's we spend time on the characters, like the woman that Master Chief saved. We got Riz, Kai, Riz's trainer, and his family, Quad, Soren's wife, blah blah blah. Narratives that make no sense in light of the main plot of Annihilation. And like, for example, Ackerson's hatred of the Spartan program and Halsey, it's incongruent for the writers to insert this plot point at this time so heavy-handedly that he wants to sideline his best weapons in the face of global destruction just because he hates Halsey, and she, his sister died in her program, and he desires to create his own program. Maybe when you're in the face of an existential threat like the Covenant, you don't isolate your best team in this situation, and then from there, like from that point, right after the Annihilation or after Reach is destroyed, then maybe from there you can insert the idea. Now I'm going to start my own program, right? Because I hate that would make more sense logically.
Well,
and the flow and progression of things, like
the
the Spartan program's essentially done, so now, or even if it's not done, I'm going to revamp it and do my own program away from Halsey because what she did failed us.
Right. Well, and the Fall of Reach leads directly into Halo 1, so it's like. Okay. Yeah, but I see where I do see where you're coming from. But the thing is it's like they've got everything that they need, and there's a way to write a character who is attempting sort of to climb the political ladder, if you will, and he's really because he obviously nothing is, and maybe a lot of it is that we didn't get very good setup for everything that we're at. It's almost like we really needed the first season to show the threat that the Covenant were, but like give us an idea, because like this is like traditional storytelling where your first take it from the Star Wars, the first trilogy. Sorry, my brain is a little flumpy tonight. You have A New Hope, and it's kind of setting everything up. It's building up all of these characters, and the heroes are victorious at the end of it. Then you've got Empire, which is pretty much the exact opposite. It's all of your heroes again, but all of them are basically going through really, really rough, or like a really, really rough time. And you could even do that for Fall of Reach. And then you could lead into a third season. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what you would want to do. But your third season could be Master Chief is back in action, and he's going to take on the Covenant, and he takes out like a big thing. And then if you want to do a couple more seasons after that, you can do like Halo 2 and 3. And so you kind of have like things ebb and flow. It's kind of. And there's a lot of people that I assume don't understand this when it comes to something like the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, but you don't get that same sort of things are really going well, things are really bad, things are really going well, because they could never have someone like Rey in a situation where she's at her lowest, She had to kind of continue that track upward. Everything has to keep going well. And some of that is storytelling as well as because they just miss these things where it's like you need to show her training, you need to show her struggling, like it's all a part of
Well,
it.
and, and you talk about these plot points that don't add up, and that's the problem. Like the setup and the payoff for the Spartan team turning against John isn't earned, but first to occur because the plot needs it, and the only reason why it can occur is because of the Marine chick that you keep thinking that is going to be Master Chief's new girlfriend this season. If she doesn't randomly not tell the truth and instead just tells the truth,
Yeah.
none of this happens. Because Kai's whole thing, for example, is
Yeah.
she stops trusting John because of Mackie, and she's like, he's dead. But we find out, and we know between 2 and 3, and then obviously in 3, that no, Mackie's alive, and also the Marine chick says, yeah, he's alive, and it's never really addressed in a logical and coherent way why she doesn't tell Ackerson the truth when she's questioned, or whoever it was, the
Yeah.
truth when she was questioned about it. And if that doesn't happen, then everything's fine, and this plot point doesn't happen. And then also, when they're on the way to Reach, it doesn't make sense for Kai to turn against Chief in that instance, so to say, or afterwards, because she starts questioning, like, hey, did we get approval for this and everything, and she basically kind of knows that, hey, once we get there on Reach, she's like, what's it she said, do we have air support? No. And so they kind of all know that this is Chief's whole deal for the most part. And then, but with Kai's character, it seems like she wouldn't care, because how they have written her characters now, without her pellet, she's more compassionate. She's been more compassionate with Riz and other Spartans and other people. So it seems like she would be fine with going on this mission to potentially protect and help Cobalt. It seems out of character for her to just be like, all of a sudden, this instance, no.
They just need it to. It's another instance of them needing this to happen in the story, so it's happening. When she, you're right. As soon as she took the pellet out because of Chief. Like, Chief has been like a massive inspiration for her, so it is really weird the way that they've handled that.
Yep. And then the other plot point, and we can once we get done talking about this, we can move on.
Good. I'm excited about Madam Web.
To Madam Web. I got two more things.
Okay.
So, I enjoy the scene with Ackerson and Keyes. I thought that was actually really well written, and that I thought that scene was really well written, if I can talk, and that the tensions and stakes were there. So you have this, apparently Ackerson knows the Covenant are on Reach. Obviously, we know that. But he reveals it to Key in a way, Admiral Keyes, in a way, to keep it on the wraps that, hey, he's letting them know, hey, we've basically given up. We're trying to save as many people as possible, aka just the people that we want to save, and we're going to book it. So he basically doesn't want to tell the public, so there's no panic, and
right.
him and the government can save who they want to, right? So it's basically the storyline from what Maui did to their own people when the fires happened, right? Don't go this way. There's that sign, don't go this way, and it was the way to safety.
Man, and it's funny that you mentioned that too, because if this show was better and they were able to use this like corpo marine society, right, to make like comments about things like that in real life, not directly pointing to like, oh yeah, it was definitely the Maui fires or whatever, but just showing that stuff, so that like we could have a discussion to be like, well, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That felt true to life. Like, I could absolutely believe that, and that we have talked about before, that those are the things from that political side that if they were nailing it would be interesting, and it would be interesting to talk about. And
you could do this thing to where people think it's, even within this show, right? That idea. You go online, there's some people who think it's a conspiracy, and then as the story goes along, you just find out, no, people are just incompetent in the government.
Well, yeah, and that would be so great. Is it's like, even the person, someone comes, that's maybe it's Commander Keyes' like daughter, and she's trying to figure out what's going on, and she thinks it's this big conspiracy, and then it gets to the top, and then she's like, oh no, you guys are just incompetent. Like, you haven't been able to protect us this entire time. Like, the fact that all of this is still running and working properly is a miracle. And then like a lot of that leads now. And again, it's been a while since I've read Fall of Reach, so I'm not 100% sure about what actually leads up to all of that. Like I think some of what's happening in the show, at least in pieces, is kind of accurate to that. But yeah, like you could talk about like expansion of this government and their expansion being part of the reason that the Covenant is able now to just come in and strike at these different places because, you know, you got blowback. There's all of these different things that you could kind of push into, but they're never going to do that because they're boring. They can't.
Well,
it's so
and I'm glad that they use Admiral Keyes to push back against Ackerson in
Sure.
that by explaining, hey, this is my home, my people. I don't give a crap what your simulation says. We're gonna stay here and fight.
Yeah.
Screw you, type of deal, right?
Yeah.
And so it works for me because it's probably, you know, there's actually some good interaction there between the two. And then also, I'm not saying it's good writing, but this is the last one. And I texted you about it after I got finished watching. And I was like, when Soren's wife, they cut to Soren's wife in this
Yeah.
episode, and apparently it's been like 2 or 3 days, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever, since his disappearance, and they're trying to steal his ship. It's like she cut her hair, and I'm like, I know a woman wrote this because the first thing she does after she loses her husband is cut her hair, and it
Yeah.
just cracked me up, man. I was dying laughing at that, but
There's a lot of that whole you know, we don't really need to go into it because it's not.
No,
It just isn't
that's
important.
boring.
Yeah, it's not important. But that whole thing with her and like getting on the ship and then she's trying to get it. This is what I'm saying is like the show doesn't do drama well at all. Whether we're talking these more intense moments where like she's trying to escape from the hangar and then like can't. To a lot of the combat in it, it's just kind of
Man. And that was a perfect chance to kill Quan off too.
Oh,
Could've just
all
had
of
him
them.
not make it. He just- You know, the little kid isn't on there. Somehow he had
You
not
know,
made it. And
sure,
just,
the
you know,
whole
the other ones.
she could have just that could have just blown up the whole pirate society and we could have been done with that plot point because
Yeah.
it sucks. And I just I don't know. I mean, like I don't know if like as a writer you get to a place in a script like this where there's just no turning back. And you're like, well, we
Yep.
got to do something, you know. We're here. We got to we got to make this work somehow. I mean, I'm just ready for the Covenant to win at this point, dude. Just,
Yeah, me too.
I can't wait for Fall of Reach simply because most of these characters should be dying at some point this season. And if, dude, honestly, if a lot of it's going to be even more disappointing, legitimately, if a lot of the cast makes it out of this season, because it's just like. I'm let's see, what 3 episodes in? What are we getting? 8 or 10? Do you
8.
know? So we have 5 more episodes. You think we'll get teased with Reach again? Like, because everyone's thinking if we get like one episode of the Fall of Reach, I'm gonna be really annoyed. That's gonna be really frustrating.
I just hope when we see the Fall of Reach, it's just Master Chief without any of his armor on
Bruh.
the entire time.
Only his helmet. Only his helmet. He has to keep his helmet on, but yeah. Just have him nude, you know what I mean, at this point.
Yeah, just his helmet on.
Yeah.
No
Zax was
clothes
saying
for everything else.
Zax was saying might as well just paint him in the trans flag.
Oh man, dude.
Man.
Yeah, we can talk about Madam Web because that's much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean that's one way
For all
of
the wrong
describing it.
reasons.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
I
so
don't think I've laughed as consistently through a movie like I did with Madam Web.
there were definitely for me it ebbed and flowed because there were moments of genuine like laughter because I'm like, what in the world? Like it just okay. So to be fair, and I guess, and we'll get into it in a minute, but there is a lot of stuff around this that I want to talk about ahead of time. And you know, thank you to Mahler and EFAP for giving me this idea, but. Yeah, there are things that happen in this movie, and it's the kind of stuff that when we've talked about Halo in the past, and I don't think Madam Web did it on purpose, but when we've talked about Halo before, and I was saying, like, I just want them to dig into absurdity, because at this point, that's going to make things more interesting than what they're doing. Madam Web does some of that. But then it just goes into really generic, like why are we wasting time on this?
Yeah.
I mean, oof, man, we'll get into it, but I do want to talk about some of the stuff surrounding this, and I have, and hopefully this audio is going to come through clearly for everybody listening, because one of these clips didn't sound great. Where do we want to start? Okay, let's start with this big thread. So this thread was something that Mahler found. And so I'm stealing his idea for the show. So Novamania 17 put a whole thing together that's basically the marketing campaign for this, going through like a whole bunch of different stuff. And so there's a few things in here I just wanted to point out. This was a really good one. It says our first look at Madam Web suit from a bottle of ocean spray. The quality on that's not very good, but it's pretty good.
That's great. They should have called it Madam Spray.
And then
Webbin Spray.
let's see, is this
Web Spray?
Oh, here we go. This is pretty good. Hang on. Hopefully we'll see about the audio on these. Oh crap, sorry, it's not coming through my headphones. That was really loud. All right.
No, you're good, man.
Let's try it.
While my character in the
Okay,
movie may be able
let's
to
do
see
it.
the future, I also can. And I know what the future
I have
brings.
no audio.
I know that when you see Madam Web, you're going to love it.
And Zorant00 said, I always look at. I can't hear it, by the way.
Okay. Hang
Makes
on.
a good point. I always look at movies that use well-known IPs with the lens of, if you took away the famous IP paint job, would people even care about the movie coming out? And yeah, I completely agree with that.
Oh yeah, and Madam Web in particular, like who cared about Madam Web? You know, like
Yeah.
it's not even a semi-recognizable IP. Because I've had people. Oh sheesh! Come on, watch together. Don't do this to me. I've had people in the past in our comments who've been saying stuff like, okay.
Zorant, I'm gonna have to disagree with your second comment where Zorant says this film felt like it could have been better received or made if it wasn't tied to Spider-Man / Marvel. Okay, maybe better made, but I don't know because at every level, sincerely, the writing, the directing, the cinematography, the editing, the sound mixing, just at every level, this movie fails spectacularly. So even if it wasn't tied to, and maybe you can better help me understand what you're trying to say. Maybe you agree with me, but yeah, let me click on this so I can hear it. Okay.
Hopefully, you know, as many times as we've used Watch Together, I'm still like, I'm such an idiot when it comes to using it. Did it work? Screen share. Here we go. I figured it
there
out.
we go.
Okay,
I was
can
like,
you
are
see
you on
it?
Cat and Dog?
Hopefully you can hear it. Okay. So I'll play this one more time so hopefully Joseph can hear it.
So,
Can you hear
while
that?
my character in the movie may be able to
No,
see
I
the
can't.
future,
What the heck, man?
But I can hear it on the YouTube stream, so I can just play it from there.
There should be. Does screen share not let you? We might.
At least
need-
our audience can hear it.
I know the audience can definitely hear it.
Our producers, I should say. Excuse me.
Yes, the troll room can definitely hear it. Can I share Twitter? That's weird, dude. You should be able to hear the audio from it.
Play it again.
Let's try. No,
We
let's
don't have to worry about it. Just play it, and I'll turn on the YouTube live stream and
Okay.
go from there.
Hang on. Oh wait. No, I don't want to use. No, don't use microphone.
This is what happens when we do it live, people.
I know. Gotta. There should be an audio function to this.
But yeah,
That's
this
so
movie,
weird.
I
Okay.
can't wait until we get to it more because it cracks me up. I'm interested to hear this interview from her.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
So, while my character in the movie may be able to see the future, I also can. And I know what the future brings. I know that when you see Madam Web, you're gonna love it. In fact, I think you're gonna see it twice.
Madame Puccina.
I don't know anyone who's gonna go see this twice.
No.
All right, here's a great one from it's this is a like a TikTok sponsored ad.
Okay.
And you can tell me. I just want you to tell me what you think's weird about this. Okay.
What if you could see the future?
Come on, let's go.
What if you had the power to change it?
Let's try that again.
Madame Web.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't even realize. What if you could change the future?
AI. Dakota Johnson or Sydney Sweeney or just anyone to just
Dude.
say that briefly.
Hang on. Yeah, because we're gonna get keep what you just said in mind, but I do want to show. So this is a great little image. I don't know where this came from.
That looks like
Dude, some people have been like memeing this and putting all sorts of stuff in her hand and like changing her hand out.
somebody should just do it and do dare over
Yeah.
it says don't do drugs.
I would, to be
Stop.
honest, I would click into some of this, but Twitter's gotten real crazy, and the stream might get taken down if I do some of that. So, because you never know what you're gonna find in some of these comments. All right, so then we have to talk about Sydney Sweeney, who we've talked about on the show before because she got into some hot water because of her family last year.
Oh yeah, them MAGAs.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll do it.
you actually sent this to me, and this was one of the things that people were kind of talking about. So here we'll play this.
One of the comic drawings that I saw of Julia was always upside down, feet together, very ballet aerialist moves. So I begged and begged and begged to have my character drop from the ceiling because that's just what Julia would have done. I have a lot of photos of me just hanging upside down, just waiting for action.
Unfortunately, we were waiting for action too, and there was none.
And nothing happened. Dude, I mean, I respect Sydney Sweeney a lot for doing that because you don't see that a lot these days. And a lot of times it's executives or producers, showrunners or whatnot telling the actresses and actors not to do any research into the character. The one that just comes to my mind off the top of my head was when James Gunn told John Cena not to research anything about Peacemaker, which is just so weird. It's just
so yeah.
It's
Well,
so weird and odd to me.
James Gunn, especially because James Gunn, he knows some of the. He's got to know some of the source material. Like he's always struck me as someone who has some kind of understanding because he likes.
It's just
he
always
likes all
stuck
the
in my head.
Yeah.
Because it was so surprising to me. Because of it being James Gunn, like you said.
Yeah.
But a lot of respect to Sydney Sweeney. It sucks that they did not use any of that in the movie part.
Yeah. All right. And here's Dakota Johnson on Saturday Night Live talking about Madam Web. Now, one of the things that you might notice as these clips continue to go along, because some of this is in order, and then I've got a few other ones that I'll play when there's a certain point in here that I want to get to before I play those.
Right.
That her attitude seems to get more. It's a little bit annoyance and maybe coming to the understanding that she got into something that she probably should have never taken this role to begin with.
Yeah.
So
It's like if someone said, "Hey, here's this
we're
Marvel product you can be in."
yeah. All right. Here's this one.
Bad news is it's Madam Web.
I have a new movie coming out. It's called Madam Web. It is in the Marvel Universe, and it also stars Sydney Sweeney. So it's kind of like if AI generated your boyfriend's perfect movie.
Oh, that joke didn't land at all.
No,
Oof.
did not.
got
Oh,
some.
brother.
These were some of the IMAX images that I kind of thought were cool. Like this actually, I would want to see this movie, whatever this is.
It's a lot better than their main poster, but a lot of posters, strangely, are. It seemed that way. Like the main poster doesn't seem as interesting as the alternates out there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the one that I was telling you about earlier. This was one of my favorites. She gets asked about a certain line of dialogue from the trailer.
Oh, I've actually seen this interview.
This is pretty good.
You might be aware there was a line from the trailer that went sort of viral. Do you remember that?
What was
at
it?
all? It was the line that says, "He was in the Amazon with my mum when she was researching spiders right before she died." Do you remember that going viral?
Why did that go viral?
I think it went viral because out of context, people were just like, "What does this mean?" Did you catch that at all?
No. Somebody brought this up, and I have no idea what it's about.
There were lots of memes because I think people were like, "What is?" Just out of the context of it, it was just a very
But isn't any sentence out of context out of context?
yeah, very true.
What a silly thing.
There was just lots of bits that were like, "Oh, that and that and that." Do you know what I mean?
She was in the Amazon researching spiders with my mom before she
He's
died.
trying so hard to get her to meme.
That seems like a basic storyline to me.
Fair enough.
But maybe I'm just underneath it.
No, that's fair. You might be aware there was a line from the trailer.
So yeah, you're right about that. So
Yeah,
he's trying.
He's definitely trying to set her up.
He's in on the joke, and she is not at this point, right?
Mhm.
She just like, she's like, I don't understand, and she is correct that out of context that he was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders before she died, and the biggest thing that is not understood here is that the movie just expositions you to death. Everything is just explained.
yes.
Everything's just explained to you in this. And compared to like a lot of the other stuff in the movie, this was. I mean, obviously, this was sort of the foreshadowing. That line was the foreshadowing of how this movie was going to go, but it's nothing compared to the movie itself.
No.
And the amount of just absurd stuff in it makes me think that Dakota Johnson and maybe the rest of the cast had like no idea what they were getting into.
No, man, they had to have not. And it's my standpoint. I think I probably have expressed this clearly by now, but I'll say it more, more clear. That if there are no outstanding performances in a movie, then that's on the director, or TV show, then it's on the director. Because, I mean, they are just saying lines like this throughout the show. And, oh, no, that's crazy. Wow. Oh, you're just like your mother. What? And you can definitely tell with the villain, too, that they use ADR.
We'll get into some of that.
Okay.
For sure.
I'm going to let you lead this. I led Halo, so I'll wait for you.
Okay, so
I get to sit back and relax.
I think we'll just do this one, and then we'll get into the movie. This one's pretty funny, and I'm thinking this is when things started to turn. Like she started to realize the movie she was in, and so the meme stuff started happening a little bit more.
Right.
And I thought this is actually kind of a fun one to some degree, even though I still think she's trying a little too hard. But here we go.
Can you name the 3 Spider-Man Tom Holland movies?
Yeah.
Should I just go on faith?
Yeah.
Oh,
Spider-Man, here he comes.
here he comes.
That's number 1.
Yep.
Spider-Man, and he's back. And the other one, the last one is the Goblet of Spider-Man.
Need a vacation.
Harry, Spider-Man, and the Goblet of Man.
Can you name the 3 Spider-Man?
So now she's trying a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like,
Trying to get in on the joke.
yeah, you're like, okay. Yeah. I didn't get that interview, did I? There's this one interview from Entertainment Tonight, I think, where they were talking about she got asked some questions. Let me see if I can find this, because this is actually I thought I cracked up a little bit on this one. So let me see if I can find it real quick. I think it's at one of the premieres, and they were asking not Sydney Sweeney. They were asking Dakota Johnson about the movie, and it's just like these interviews are always so like awkward. Let me see.
Yeah, they are. I think it's a better interviewers. And it is, in that one interview, it's kind of like, what was he expecting her to say?
Yeah.
Like the clown on the movie. She can't do that. Not directly.
All right, here we go. Hopefully her dress isn't too scandalous. Oh, here we go. They zoomed in.
What are we wearing? You look gorgeous.
I'm wearing Gucci.
I love it. The fans are
warm.
I would take this
I'm
off
jealous.
and give it to you right now.
Do it.
I will. The fans are
She looks
clearly
miserable.
cheering your name. They're excited to see you. They're excited to see this movie.
Cheering
She's
her
like, you
name.
look
You're
warm.
finally in
Yeah.
your superhero era. Are you pinching yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting and fun, and I feel so proud to be a part of this film and a part of a new kind of a superhero film. It's really fun.
So good. I read
Bro.
that you almost.
Okay, so I have to stop that. Like,
So,
look at
Is this what? I'm sorry.
No,
Is this
go
what?
ahead.
Is her outfit what everyone was in an uproar about on like raving about on Twitter, like her and Sydney Sweeney? I heard they wore a revealing outfit so that it like show kind of the
Well,
chest and everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Sydney Sweeney, if she was
Yeah.
wearing a paper bag, it would be revealing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, hers is, but it's like it was like a if you had like a one-piece swimsuit and then you put like
A chain link fence on it.
over the top of it, yeah, like it kind of looks like, because they were trying to go for this like spider webby looking design.
Oh,
Dude, you
gotcha.
should see I don't remember. Let me see if I'm gonna pull her name up. Yeah, here we go. Celeste O'Connor, who she was the black girl.
Yep.
In it. They have a picture of it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Look at her hair. Do you see this? What they did with the top.
Oh, I thought that was
It's
dude.
like,
If you did not tell me that was her hair, I would have thought she had like a painting on her head or something.
I'm
like someone
pretty sure.
painted.
I'm pretty sure that's her hair. Let me. Can I? Oh, it might not let me.
Oh,
No, it's
man.
only let me.
Someone
zoom in
didn't
on
help
that.
her out, did they?
No, it's really bad.
Man.
But yeah,
I mean, hey, listen. She got that bag for the film, though. I'm sure she.
I'm sure
got
she
paid.
did all right.
Hopefully, she got paid.
yeah.
well.
Hopefully, she got paid all right for it. And then, I kind of feel bad for the actresses. Like,
Yeah, it's not their fault. I mean, I really think, dude.
Isabel.
I mean, they had to have tried to do the best they could, and at some point, you got to go. This is just sucky.
Isabel Merced will be fine. She's gonna be in a DC film pretty soon. I think she's gonna be in that Superman film. Let me look at this. Let's see what's upcoming. Oh, she's gonna be in Alien. She's in Superman Legacy. Looks like she's playing Dina in The Last of Us. Oh well, sorry. Oof, that's rough. But yeah, she's fine. She's coming out of this okay. Sydney Sweeney is coming out of this
Yeah.
okay. Dakota Johnson. We'll see.
I mean, I think that I think she's a fine actress. I've seen her in other works. Peanut Butter Falcon's one.
Oh yeah,
that's
I
really.
forgot
I'm
she was
sorry.
in
Excuse
that.
me. I've only seen her in Peanut Butter
Okay,
Falcon and
well-
Madam Web. So maybe there's an.
I sent you. This was a really funny one too. Someone was memeing on her. I sent this one to you on Twitter. Let me pull this up real quick, and then I swear.
But I
we're
really
actually
don't
gonna
think
talk
it's-
about the movie itself.
It's her fault. I just think, or any of the actresses' fault, or actors. I think it's just the script, man. I mean, if there's no outstanding performances, that's on the director, the writers.
This one was really good. That's like is this not letting me? Man, my computer's not letting me zoom. Here we go, guys. It's literally like the same mask.
Good.
Dude, and when they showed her costume at the end of the movie, I have not laughed that hard in a
That's
movie in a
stupid.
while.
They should have like gotten her to take it off and then laser shoot out of her eyes at the end.
Bro, practically.
Cyclops.
I can't wait to talk about the end of it. And then someone else, I won't play it because it's 1 minute and 43 seconds, but a lot of people are saying that like Madam Web is the worst movie that's ever been made. It's not true because Catwoman.
No, that's not true.
Catwoman's still worse, and I sent Joseph specifically a scene of where Halle Berry's playing basketball, and the guy's like, the guy who tweeted this said, no matter how bad Madam Web is, don't think anyone can dethrone Catwoman's 134 cut basketball game as the worst scene in movie history, and that whole movie's bad.
Dude, I actually,
yeah.
funny that you said that. I actually, within the last year, not this year, but in 2023, I watched Catwoman with my keeper because I'm like, I've never seen this movie. Let's watch it. And I was.
Sorry about that one. Yeah.
That movie had me laughing too. I'm like,
That's real bad.
that's so bad.
Ugh. Makes my skin crawl. All right. Well, let's talk about Madam Web for a little bit.
That one you sent me, spoiler day, Madam Web.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
Yeah, so let me pull this up so I can kind of keep my thoughts together. Yeah, I from like the outside. Okay, so one of the first things that I noticed about Madam Web was the choice in actually I can pull this up for you so that you can at least see what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it, but I can't do this for anybody else.
No, you can't.
For reasons.
Yeah. It's a secret.
It's a secret. Have to keep it safe, you know. They do this thing in the movie where they have to show the text. So it's like the year and then the area that they're in, and it's all in this really basic looking text. Like they just went into Premiere or some sort of editing program and went with whatever the first option was. Like it's not. There's
you
no
know what they
design
did? They
to
called
it.
up the showrunners of the Rings of Power and said, "Hey, we need your help."
And we get her mom, and this whole like opening scene with her mother, who was in the Amazon with Ezekiel when she died. So that's like where that whole thing comes from. And the line's not in the movie,
Right.
is it? They cut it.
No, it's not at all.
They cut it because of the meme, didn't they?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And
the one enjoyable thing we could have been looking forward to.
But to be fair, there's some even better. I can't wait for this to come out on streaming and get like high quality version of it so people can see like some of the insane stuff that happens in this.
Oh yeah, and maybe we could do a full breakdown with it.
Yeah. So the whole like opening plot of this, and she's at this point, I guess you have to assume she's like close to 9 months pregnant. She's having contractions. She's in the middle there. She's in Peru, right? Oh, did I lose you? Did I lose him? He's muted, everyone.
No, you didn't lose me. I was
Okay.
trying to unmute myself, but it wasn't working. Yes, they're in
Peru,
in the
right?
Amazon.
Yeah, and she she's like searching for this spider because it's got magical properties allegedly, and she's saying no one's ever caught one alive, which we can get into in a minute. And then so you're doing all this stuff, and you know, so as the movie is progressing in this opening scene, I forced Jake to watch this with me because it helps, you know. So this is a movie that like watching it with other people and being able to just comment on it and be like, okay, first of all, why is she in the Amazon this pregnant? Like, why would you not wait until after, right? We don't get a whole lot of information about the father in the movie, if any. And she's like looking at the spider web. She doesn't do anything
Dude,
to
they
like,
don't
look
mention
around.
jack crap about the father, and I
No.
was dying laughing. You have this lady that's essentially 9 months pregnant, right, or close to it, and just in the Amazon looking for a deadly.
Yeah, she's looking for this deadly spider, and she just like she's looking at this web or whatever, and it's like the whole thing is so low effort because it's not like if you've ever seen the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark,
right?
It's like this is the antithesis of that, where she's kind of looking at the spider web, and it's like nothing really seems all that dangerous, and I'm like, you're in the middle of the Amazon. And we're going to just say 9 months pregnant because of what happens later on. But, she's in that at the end of her pregnancy. And, the guy, Ezekiel, is with her who, he's the bad guy, obviously.
Yep.
And, she doesn't find anything. She gets contractions, and she's, like, upset about it. And it's, like, it's so frustrating watching this because it's, like, why'd you have to do it like this? Why couldn't, like, you could have done it so she was already alive. Just make her, like, an absentee mother.
Yeah, right.
She her daughter is still at home, and she's here, and so the whole plot element of it is, my mom, was so obsessed with her work that she would leave me behind all the time, and I'm an orphan now because of that. Because someone,
and that works. It
someone
actually makes
murdered her.
sense.
Yeah, instead of her being pregnant in the middle of this. So as she
Okay, I don't want to jump ahead. Go ahead.
You're good. Ezekiel is like stealing her research, I guess.
Because he grew up.
Oh, he grew up poor. Yeah.
So I have to kill you because I gotta get this spider to get power because I grew up poor.
Yeah. And so it's really ridiculous because he attacks what is her actual name in this movie? Her Dakota Cassie. And of course her last name is Webb, which I don't know, that threw me off a little bit. I didn't realize that
was so on the nose.
Yeah, Matt, it's like you remember in the Mario movie where it's like his last name is Mario and he's like, "Was your first name Mario?" It's like it reminded me of that. I was like, Are we doing that but serious?
Then it works for Mario because it's not serious, right? It's cartoon.
That movie is like pure schlock, and when they do it in the movie, it's for a joke, like they're.
But this is supposed to be exactly it's for a joke. But this is supposed to be more grounded.
And they're like, "See, her name is she's Madam Web because her last name is Webb," and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of always thought that was just the title that she had because of her ability, not because her last name was actually Webb.
I didn't realize Mike Epps was in this.
Yeah, well, he's not. Yeah, he's only in it for like 10 minutes.
Second.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there.
Okay. I was like, man, Mike Epps was in this?
So Ezekiel, she finds the spider off screen, right? Like he's
Right,
back
of course.
stealing. Yeah, of course. And everyone's like, "Oh wow!" And then Ezekiel immediately pulls out a gun, shoots the people that are like with her, and she, instead of being like, well, crap, I should probably just give this to him because I have this daughter, or this, like, maybe she doesn't know, but like she has this kid that she's going to
she's
have.
pregnant.
She's pregnant. And instead of being like, oh man, I need to like protect the baby, she's like, no, the spider, and then she gets shot because of it. and Ezekiel could have just like pushed her down and taken it, like threatened her with the gun. And it's really funny too because if you watch the scene, hang on, I need to mute this. But if you watch the scene, there are people like running around
in the background. I was dying laughing. If any of them had just reported this to the police.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, like, not even that. Oh, and so, oh man, and then we get to this part. So, yeah, so people are like fleeing the scene, and then these, no joke, these, Jake made this joke when we were watching this, right? Where he was like, bro, he's like, the predator, because I think the trees were like moving or whatever. And he's like, oh, right. the predator's out there. And then these guys that look like predators come running out of the trees. And I was like, Jake, what is happening here? They're like
Dude,
paint.
that's why I'm gonna be laughing throughout this. And I'm sorry, it's
No,
just
you're
so
good.
ridiculous.
Oh, there they are running away in the background.
Yeah, their outfits, the spider people's outfits, and just their facial expressions and everything. Oh my gosh.
No, okay,
But yeah, as far as the people running away in the background, as I said, if any of them just go to police and report him, I mean,
yeah, like people.
this is
He shouldn't have gotten away. And not only that, dude, but the spider people have a line where they talk about how they punish like wicked people. So
Yes.
why didn't any of them go after Ezekiel for stealing the spider?
there are multiple of them there, and they're
Dude,
really strong and fast.
And you know what's crazy is like for how bad something like Wakanda Forever is, or some of there's been other movies like it. At least when you have these like secret societies, people are typically when they're writing this stuff, they're good enough at what they're doing to be like, well, we can't have these holes of like someone getting away and not being punished for stealing something unless they're just talented enough. There's got to be, you have to write your way out of these situations. Ezekiel just runs away and he gets away with it. This is so much of this movie is a clear indication of like they just didn't care. Like stuff just has to keep happening.
Yes, we need the plot to keep progressing.
Yes,
so
it's the and this and then this and then this and then this and there's
of because of.
Yeah, there's none of that. This happens. I can't remember exactly what the phrase is that the guys from South Park use. It's slipping my mind right now, but it's essentially a situation happens, therefore this is like the outcome, or like you're writing yourself into the next pieces. And so the movie doesn't do that at all. It's and then this and then this and then this through the entire movie. And I'm not sure you ever stop to really like develop characters, or like there aren't really moments of things. So it's Cassie's mom is searching for a spider, and then Ezekiel steals her research, and then she finds the spider, and then he shoots her and takes the spider, and then therefore versus and then. That's okay. I thought I might have been on the right place. There's no therefores in this. It just keeps progressing. Yeah, it keeps progressing through its story in these and then moments. And it's like, and then it's 2003, and she's in the bus with Uncle, or not the bus, but in the ambulance.
Get there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
How did
great.
he get back to New York?
Great question, Joseph. She's born in Peru.
In the middle of a freaking
she
the
has
fountain of youth or
she
whatever.
has like this water birth, and this secret society who gives her these abilities, instead of keeping her there and raising her, they send her to an orphanage in New York City.
Oh,
And
is
that's
that
how
was
she
that
is.
what's discussed on in the film? I must have missed it.
No, you kind of just have to pick up on that being what happens, because I don't think it's ever
Okay.
actually mentioned. But she was an orphan.
Get
And
back, would they alert police? Like if they've been watching, they know like all the people in the background, number one, and then the spider people too. Wouldn't they be able to alert someone, even if it wasn't the police? Like, hey, this is the guy that shot and killed the mom.
And the spider people should have just killed Ezekiel.
Oh yeah, easily.
That's it. That's all that. I mean, they clearly. I mean, you saw. It looks terrible, but if you see the scenes of them like running across the treetops or whatever, they clearly have superpowers. It should have been taken care of. I was at
This director also does not like the 180 rule at all.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's a lot of weird editing in this. Weird dialogue. Like they've made her super quirky, but it's like apparently the guy in that Uncle Ben is working on is like going into like cardiac arrest, or like it's a bad situation, and they're in here like cracking jokes while this is happening.
And it seems very much like, hey, I know these people have, EMTs have dark humor, right? or whatnot. But
Sure.
it's like people can have multiple aspects to the characters, and they know when to turn them on and turn them off, when to be serious, right, in a situation, and when that situation dissipates from being serious, when you can make a joke and
Yeah.
look back on it
So-
and say something dark.
She's supposed to be this like quirky, awkward person, you know,
Outcast, kind of.
and it makes her unlikable. They don't
It does.
they don't treat her in a way where she's just misunderstood. Everyone around her is just sort of like, you're kind of weird, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. You're the socially awkward girl, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like everything is played so flat.
Everyone's
yeah.
dialogue is played flat, and it's funny because she doesn't like receiving praise, but then Sydney Sweeney's character comes up to her and says, or someone does,
I think it was her.
says, "Thanks for saving my stepdad."
Yeah, it
and
was Sydney
she's
Sweeney.
just like not. Madam Web's trying not to, Cassie, whatever, is trying not to receive it, and Ben's just like, receive it or whatnot. Like a normal reaction in that would be to just say thank you and
So-
then just move on.
Yeah, I
Not-
know. You and I both have known like really socially awkward people in our lives.
Yes.
And from like work or whatever the case may be, and it's always really interesting because so often these scenarios don't work out the way that they're supposed to in movies, and this is like a major example of it, because I think the idea is that you're supposed to find her endearing because of how quirky and like weird she is, but she really does just come off as like, oh no, like you're like you don't,
You're just rude.
yeah, you're just kind of rude, aren't you? Because it's not like she has like autism or anything, you know what I mean? She's a normal,
Yeah.
like, ooh, I'm gonna get in trouble for that one, but she doesn't have anything that's like keeping her from being able to like hold her filter, you know? And like when you're dealing with like families in these situations where
She doesn't have like Asperger's or anything that prevents her from being socially aware.
yeah, her filter should be there.
Because I know we've had some friends that
And
are
dude,
on the spectrum, and
even with
they haven't been able to pick up on social cues and
Mhm.
social things, which is fine.
and even with
you
them,
know.
you correct. You go, hey,
Yeah.
not the best
This
way.
person was joking, by the way.
Yeah,
You let them know, like this. Yeah,
yeah.
they were being sarcastic or whatnot.
Yeah,
but,
because like social
but
interactions.
with
can be
her,
weird.
she's not portrayed as that way.
No, she's
right?
just she's a crazy cat lady who's thinking about getting a dog. It's just kind of like oof. And so this whole thing is like going on, and as you get through the first like 20 minutes of this movie or so, maybe the first like 15 actually, she runs into the three other actresses, and they do it in this way where they're acting like it's this like, ooh, did you notice that Sydney Sweeney was in the scene? It's like, yeah, she literally talked to her. Oh, did you notice that the other actress that like lives in her
Lives in their
it's
same
like,
place?
yeah, you know, like it's very clever the way that they're doing it. Oh, look, they're all intertwined, you know, the whole it's just,
Yeah.
it's dumb.
They're
but-
all eventually going to be tied to the spider cloud.
Oh, yeah. So she
The World Wide Web.
I'm jumping ahead just a little bit so that we can keep this at a decent pace.
Okay.
So she goes to a call of a overturned car on a bridge, and it's like hanging off the side of the bridge, and this is sort of like her origin as far like she has like I guess two origin stories, you know.
Yeah.
She has the one of like before she's born and how she gets her powers, because she technically already has them. They're just like latent. And so she goes to save this guy, and while she's inside cutting him down, and some pretty bad editing in this, the way that it works, like he's hanging off a bridge, and like the scene has no tension to it, you know?
None.
She's just it's very much like, okay, sir, like we're gonna get you out of here. It's like, dude, half the car's hanging off the side of a bridge.
Yeah, you think they would have secured it or tethered it to
Yeah.
a vehicle or something else, or gotten people to help keep it upright. I mean,
Yeah.
there's very logical and easy solutions to this scenario.
There are numerous movies with similar scenarios that have a lot more tension to them. Because it's very much a will the car or won't the car go into the water you know. And I think it's spoiled, and not that it matters, but it's spoiled in the trailer that the car does go down, and that's how she gets like. Not only does she get submerged in the water inside of this car, but she clearly hits her head on, on the windshield. You know, and somehow that doesn't kill her. And then so she starts having these visions.
You know, the real hero of the story has actually Ben.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
because he had to jump down there and save her.
You know, he would have been more of a hero, I think, if he had just not.
All right, as you were saying then.
So yeah, you're right. He
also,
somehow gets down
he's
there.
the real hero, and then for some reason she doesn't give two rips about her dad, which kind of, as we said earlier, but it kind of reminded me of Harry Potter, how it's the love of the sacrifice of his mom that you know, gave him his powers and everything like that.
His dad, it's just like, oh yeah, his dad died.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. How do you think, because we are not shown this, how do you think Ben saved her? Did he jump off the bridge, or did he?
Oh, he didn't just jump off the bridge. He did like a somersault, 360 flip into it, because that's exactly probably how the writers write this in. As we all know, it's really simple and easy to save someone when they're in a vehicle that's sinking that's submerging in the water down to the very bottom of a lake or a river or just any body of water. Super easy. It's not that hard.
So do you remember when we were talking about episode 2 or 3 of Rings of Power, and we got smooth brain flack from a group of people because I dared to ask, why didn't we get a scene of all of the people being captured that ended up in like that orc slave camp?
Yes.
All the elves that ended up there when they attacked that tower.
For the elves.
Yeah, and they were like, well, they obviously ended up there, and I'm like, that's not the point. How? There's some I need to know. Okay, and I guess the best way to explain it in that scenario, and it's the same with this, but on a different scale. So with the whole elves versus the orcs thing, like, show me the power scale there. I want to see the fight because I need you to establish to me, was it overwhelming numbers? Did they come out of the ground and surprise them? Like, how did they end up in this situation? Like, that is an important element. And it's unfortunately, there's a lot of people that, they want to call you an idiot while looking one themselves. But that's the same question here. Like, if you were to legitimately ask, okay, it's like, how did Ben do that? You cut away to him saving her after, dude, it's very much like Ahsoka.
Dude.
You know what I'm talking about?
All these shows, man.
Yeah, where it's just like, okay, how did she survive that?
Yeah, floating there.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
I was thinking, I'm right there with you. I was thinking, how did Ben save her and get her out?
Yeah,
because that would be a very difficult rescue.
Oh,
you're just supposed to assume. You're supposed to use your head knowledge and your head canon to do it yourself.
Yeah. And this is why we were talking about this earlier in the show. It's like, this is why you need someone to come in and be like, wait, how did she survive that? Oh, well, he jumps in and saves her. Do you think that that's a reasonable way for her to be saved? And you go through these steps, and then you can get to a point of going, maybe she needs to unlock her powers another way. That's the point of rewrites. Well, and this movie, according to Dakota Johnson, this movie got insane. It got I don't know if it got rescripted or just re-edited, but allegedly it was a different movie early on that sounded mildly more interesting than what we got. But with the way this turned out, it probably with what we got, I doubt it really would have been. But the concept behind it was a little more interesting, where essentially it's like Terminator, but with Peter Parker. So Ezekiel's trying to stop Peter Parker from ever existing. which I'm kind of like, all right. I
That
mean,
would have
like,
been a lot better.
yeah, I'm like, that's got some intrigue to it. It's like I don't even know if that's comic book accurate at all, but as far as like throwing ideas out there for stuff, you're like, yeah, all right.
It's better
I mean,
than this.
yeah,
That's for sure.
That's something, you know. So she gets like this first moment of her powers, right, where she reads her, is it her temperature or was it her heartbeat? Do you remember? It probably isn't that important, but he's
I
doing
don't
some
know, oxygen levels,
yeah,
I want to say.
Ben's doing some tests on her, and she gets like a glimpse of it, and she says it before he does. And this is going to be a common thing throughout this, and it gets worse, especially when we get to the train. Anyway, so we catch up with Ezekiel. He now has gray in his hair, and he's seducing a government agent, and they sleep together.
No, not just any government agent. I don't know if you caught it, but it's an NSA agent.
Oh, an NSA agent, yeah. It's just
even better.
Because the plot needs to happen. It has to be her because he has to get...
Yeah, at least she goes to shows or whatever it was. I can't remember
with
now.
The codes.
With the code.
Yeah.
It sleeps with her.
Yeah, she doesn't even know who this guy is. Like, I mean, you know.
My brother.
It could be accurate to the government, really. You know what I mean? With like honeypots and stuff like that.
Yeah, true. And a competency. But I love how the flashbacks, or I'm sorry, the flash forwards of him being old is just him still looking young, but with gray hair.
With gray hair, yeah. So we find out through his explanation that ever since he killed Cassie's mom, he's been having these dreams of his own death and these women that are the ones that kill him, and it haunts him all the time. And we learn about his powers, and then he basically has this poison that if he touches you, he can inject you pretty quickly with like a deadly toxin. That he touches her and she immediately goes, "How are you poisoning me?" As if she would know exactly what that was.
And I love it too. It's like he says, "If you give me the codes, I will let you live."
Yeah.
And she has to be thinking like, this guy just injected me with poison to kill me. Like, surely this is not. He's not going to give me any antidote to save me.
I hate.
And if she lied and just was one number off, or if he forgot, then this doesn't happen.
And exactly. Yeah, the whole plot basically does revolve around her telling him the truth. And of course she does, right? Because again, plot has to happen. But the crazy thing about a lot of this is like, it frustrates me so much, just the lack of passion that you can tell from like a director. Because if someone was like poisoning you, right, and you knew they were trying to kill you, like you would be fighting as hard as you could.
Oh, easily.
To as much as you could, even if you lose, right? And I just don't see that.
Clarkson.
Yeah, I don't see that in a lot of movies anymore, where they're like, you remember? Okay, so you know how like in Godzilla -1, one of the things that maybe Justin was the one that brought it up, but he was kind of talking about a bit of what could be perceived as overacting in the movie, where the characters during like really emotional scenes, they're very emotional.
Yep.
I would still prefer that every single time to, oh, it's so sad, or like where someone is getting poisoned to death and they know that they're potentially going to die and they're not fighting back and they're not screaming and scratching and clawing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like go
the
all
over emotion versus the under emotion.
If you're going to do it, like go all in and do multiple takes and see if you can get something that works with that, instead of it just being like, "Oh no, how are you poisoning me?" and then dying, you know? It sucks.
How are you poisoning me?
What?
Dude, the dialogue is so
it cracks me. And I know we're forgetting some stuff because we are trying to
we
get
can't
through
do
it, but
breakdown. Maybe one day we will when it releases on stream, but and then it cuts to a freaking baby shower.
Yes,
and they
the
just dance
awkward
around. Oh wait, we get the awkward Pepsi.
Promotion. All of the Pepsi placement in this, which we will definitely talk about at the end.
Yeah, I love how in this scene it's just very obvious that she faces it towards the camera and is just like contemplating for as long as possible to not actually drink it. It's so weird. Nobody gets handed a soda and does that.
Yep.
And I don't even drink soda, just any drink like that. So
we've got
and apparently I didn't even know, but in the baby shower scene, I'm like, well, apparently Emma Watson's in this movie.
I didn't know she was
that.
either. Yeah, that was exactly my thought. I was like, oh, it's her. And Jake goes, who's that? And I was like, oh, it's Emma Watson. That's
Julia Roberts.
No, not Emma Watson. Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts.
Emma
Yeah,
Roberts.
that's it.
They do have the same last name. And it's funny because both of them are the product of nepotism in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And Emma Roberts, dude, she's just talk about phoning it in this. She literally just like exists in this movie.
Oh yeah. And they just dance around saying Peter's name and stuff.
Oh
I
whole
thought
thing.
it was funny if they would have just, I don't know, find a comedic way to do it in the sense of where they can't say, they may not be able to say Peter's name, but we're gonna call him I don't know, Teeter Larker or something like that.
Right.
Just to put a comedic spin on it.
Zorant was asking if there was an ocean spray bottle in the film. Not that I noticed. It's possible that it was there. But it would be funny to just like scan through the whole movie and look for all of the product placement in it, Oh
yeah.
That'd be a pretty funny video. So we get like a really awkward baby shower scene. And then, is this, man, are we already here? We're back to her doing like paramedic things. Like, by the way, so baby shower, by the end of the baby shower, we're roughly half an hour into this movie.
And she's been starting to get these spider cloud visions.
Quote unquote. Yeah, they're really...
She's connecting to the cloud.
They're really lame for the most part, too. And this would be what I would call the first time that maybe we're getting one that would have been important. And you're right. Ray, who I guess was at the baby shower as well, wasn't he?
I believe so.
And that's his actual name. It's Ray Epps, right? Yeah. Oh, no, Mike Epps. Mike Epps. He plays O'Neill.
Plays O'Neill.
Mike Epps, who I grew up with because he was in Resident Evil 2, or Nemesis, the movie, who was probably one of the best characters in that. And yeah, so he's barely in this, and so they're doing this whole scene, and you can actually see the scene we're about to talk about in the trailer for context. But there's like some really bad accident. They're out on like a wharf, and you can actually see this area where he's about to drive off to. It basically dead ends. It's like, it looks like there's a car lot or something on the other side, but it basically dead ends. And she has this vision of his character, O'Neill, getting hit by a semi in oh my gosh, dude.
Was it a dumpster? A dump truck?
Was it a dump truck?
Like
it's a really, a semi. I can't quite remember what it was. We'll find out in a second. In the ambulance. And so she asks him like, oh, can I drive? Can I drive? Blah, blah, blah. It's dumb because all she needed to do was distract him long enough.
And delay him.
Yeah, just delay
like 5 or 10 seconds.
Keep him there until you realize that scenario has gone by. Like it's pretty simple. Like you clearly know what's going on. And she can't, and he just thinks she's weird because everyone just thinks she's weird. And so he gets in there, and then let's see. Oh, I think it's like right. Oh, they try to play this up super dramatic.
Yes, they do.
And he's just like not listening to her. Did I miss it? Yeah, here it is. So walking away, and oh, you're right. It was a dump truck, I guess.
Yeah, something of that nature.
Dude, this thing barely hits his vehicle.
Let me see. I'm Watch Together messed up on me for some reason.
Let's see if I can show you again. Can you see this? You can see it, right?
So, is it? Send me a new link.
Oh, I wonder if like my shared screen got messed up.
Maybe.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I know the scene you're talking about though, and
Here
it's
it is.
very
Right here.
mild.
bonk.
Like, wow, this collision.
Dude. And they make it out to be this massively dramatic thing, and to the point where somehow his chest is bleeding.
Yeah, the
I have
blood used in his chest.
You know what?
Was like ketchup. It was like watered down ketchup.
You and I have actually both been in car accidents that were significantly worse than that.
Yes.
And your chest just doesn't explode, you know?
Now, to be fair, this is in the Marvel Universe, and we know because it's been established in Echo that random shards of glass can just
But this is
break loose in car accidents.
This is
somehow
Sony.
And
This
come
is
out of nowhere.
This is Sony Marvel. So
There's not even glass in his chest. It's just blood. It would have been better explained if he just had a heart attack. That's all you had to do. Is, because that can happen in a mild collision if someone, has issues going on with their heart. They can have a heart attack in that situation. You don't have to do blood. She starts trying to do CPR on him. He's not coming to. I think he had a heart attack. Something happened.
So we cut back to Ezekiel. Oh, and you're absolutely right. There's ways that you could have just had a better car crash.
That too.
Like an ambulance isn't a small vehicle.
No.
He probably would have. He probably would have been all right.
Right.
Yeah, they definitely needed to make that work differently.
It's
I
just
don't
a
know.
boop. It's like bumper cars. For those, I know we can't show it right now, but for our producers in the troll room, it's essentially like bumping somebody in bumper cars. That's exactly what happened, and you can see it in the trailer. It's so funny.
So Ezekiel somehow has magical NSA right technology.
Yeah.
That not only can show the images from his dreams, but accurately depict the women in them without their
Faces
costumes
being
on.
revealed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's wild, dude. Like it is a massive leap in logic to be able to do that. Because let's remember, this is 2003.
Dude, and it's either way, even if it was today, it's funny how
It
it's
is
like
even
it
today,
can just
it's a big leap for sure.
what are they? Oh man, what are the forensic artists? I can't remember their exact title, but I think it's that. And this computer would definitely be the best forensic artist because not only can it, because it perfectly depicts visions from your dreams, even when the people in your dreams are masked and covered.
Yep.
But my favorite part in this, I have a couple. Number one is that how with this NSA technology, it's, if this is top of the line technology for the NSA, you would think they would have somebody monitoring, and if she didn't, come back to the office the next day,
Oh yeah, she's dead.
it's
Yeah,
like,
that's a good
hey,
point.
this guy has access to your code.
Hey, why hasn't
Why is this
Laura
activated now?
Why isn't Laura shown up to the office? Oh, that's not good. And they look into it and it's like, where was she? And if you're right, if they also still have this technology, they should be able to find Ezekiel. You're right. It's the same stupid. You remember in is it like Wakanda? It's in Wakanda Forever where Namor gets on that ship and they murder all of those guys, and it's like, did the ship not have cameras?
Yes.
Because they act because everyone thinks that the Wakandans did it, and it's like, bro, it was clearly fish people. Did they not have cameras on that ship? Did they? It's like they would have known. They would have been able to figure out who did it. You don't just go, well, obviously it was the Wakandans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the next part is there's a line in here. I can't remember exactly, but it's so unnatural to where I think the lady says something like, I have the computer software has perfectly depicted the 3 females like you told me about in your dream. I can't remember her line verbatim, but it's weird because he had previously told her, hey, these are the women in my dreams. This is what they look like. And so it just seems weird to say it in the way that she said it. You know what I mean? If it was on stream, we'd be able to show you guys and actually run it to.
Also, he still has the magic spider. I didn't even notice that before. Is that the same? Is that the same magic spider from 30 years ago? Do spiders
How
live
old
that
is
long?
you? How old was
I
he?
know.
Speaking of which, is like, as you said, 20, 30 years ago. So
Technically,
you'd
it's
probably
30.
say 25, 30.
I think it's like 33 because I think that's how old
Oh, okay.
Cassie is in it.
So how old was he in the Amazon? Was he 20? So that would put him at
He is in his 50s.
50?
It's semi believable, but he does look younger than 50. You know.
Yeah.
And you could assume that it's not great to do, but you could assume that the spider gives him like longer life. You know.
Yeah.
Like
right.
it helps with like some of that. Bro.
Then she goes into her, shelter at home, her little kind of spiral, so to say.
I don't even remember
that part.
Oh, this is where the bird comes in. Yeah, the bird gets hit, and then the bird comes in, and I was like, I don't get it. So it's literally just another moment of her, like this pigeon hits the window and dies, and then it's just a vision, and so she opens the window and the pigeon comes in, and it's just to be like, oh, powers, right? So we're getting up to, I believe the train scene is nearly when you're getting into the train scene, it's nearly like 40 minutes into this movie. I am not 100% sure, but at this point in Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire, the first one, right? He's already pretty much Spider-Man, if not just in the fun section of learning about his powers, you know? And it's crazy to me that you wouldn't even just follow the method of that, where she goes through some situation, she's realizing she has powers, and now she needs to put him to the test. But we don't do any of that. It's all these like weird random scenarios of her just being in places, and then, oh, there's a bird, and it flashes back to her again, and the bird comes inside. It's like, and the train section is even worse because they keep flashing to these different moments. And anybody who watched me play through Alan Wake knows how much I hate stuff like that. Because it's just it's so like jarring, and it just irritates. It gets in my gets under my skin. The way that they like edit that stuff. And it was really bad in Alan Wake because it's like these fear flashes. So it'd just be like random moments of you walking down a hall, and all of a sudden you get this vision, and like a woman's like screaming at you, and you're like, God, and you're like, I'm like, I hate this. And they'll just do it like over and over again, and I'm like, please stop. Like, please make this stop. They're like, ooh, isn't it spooky? Or like, ooh, isn't it weird? And you're like, no, it's annoying.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Yep. I completely agree.
Some weird camera angles in this too. I may not be able to like get to it, but there's that part where she's realizing she's might have powers, and so she tries to climb the wall, and the camera angle is like straight down and in a corner. It looks really bad. So yeah, she gets on this train, and all of the other girls. Like at this point, we're 40-ish minutes into it, and we still haven't really been introduced to the rest of the cast. Like they've kind of shown up.
We're into this. Wouldn't you say that we're into Act 2 at this point?
Yeah. We've been in Act 2.
And generally speaking, in Act 1 is when you're going to reveal your main characters, your main villain.
You know what else? Oh, so she's headed to O'Neill's funeral. That's what it is. Because everyone's been commenting about her funeral attire. It's just like this casual outfit with like a red jacket. I completely forgot about that.
Now, to be fair, maybe. Well, I guess she's on the subway train, so she's not taking a car. So never mind. That doesn't work to say she's going to take it off when she gets to the funeral.
Well, yeah, because she's still like she's basically in jeans and a Henley.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not funeral attire. Oh, I guess it's short sleeve, but still, it's not. That is not. You don't wear that to a funeral. And so she keeps having these like different flashes of people like screaming, and it keeps happening over and over again. And it was really funny because when Jake and I were watching this, he's like, this doesn't seem like a New York subway. He's like, where's the crazy person screaming at everyone? And then she gets up and starts screaming at everyone, and he's like, oh, never mind.
Why is it more dirty?
Is. Yeah. Oh, dude,
where's
it's
the
weird.
poop? Where's
this is like the cleanest New York subway I think I've ever seen. so she gets the flashes of Ezekiel coming after them and like killing all the girls in this again. He's in this vision, which again we have to take as true because she sees the future. He's not in his weird spider, pseudo Spider-Man costume. He's literally walking through the subway, picking up girls and smashing them on the ceiling, and all these people are screaming and running around. It's like, what's he doing? Why is he doing it like this?
Think you want to be more inconspicuous with it?
His character,
especially considering like he has this company, so you would imagine that he his face is out there. He's prominent to some degree.
Yeah, he wouldn't be doing this in broad daylight. He wouldn't be doing this on like a well-lit subway without any sort of like any way to mask his identity. And at one point that we're about to get to, when she like gets them all off the train after she sees this, and he sees them, and then he gets out, and then is in this well-lit subway crawling upside down. There's at what we can see on screen, it's the 4 main actresses, and then there's at least 3 other people on the subway, and it's like, what is he doing? And he just starts.
Why is he doing it like this?
They're freaking out. No one's paying attention. These cops are right there. The cops are right behind them, and no one sees him.
Nope, no one.
Everyone's just pretending like
Didn't Sweeney already say beforehand that she's kidnapping us? I think that happened before
it does,
the main bad guy started. Okay, all right. We just needed to establish that. That's fine.
So she kind of...
That's important for later.
Yeah, she almost gets arrested.
But then he just...
he just
he's teleporting.
Dude, he's literally teleporting. Here it is. And then they're freaking out. Dude. Oh my god.
But if
he just killed that cop. He 100% just killed that cop. Look at him.
The sign, dragging them under the sign cracked me up, man.
He just threw that cop at that train. That cop is dead. There should be like blood spewing out.
In order for the plot to make sense later on, you have to assume the cops died. That's
you really have to.
But if that cop that was handcuffing her had actually handcuffed her, then she would have been over.
Yeah, the whole movie's over. And so she steals a taxi and puts them all in the back, and then takes them out to the middle of the woods. And at this point, like, to be fair to Cassie, these girls should at least, be, because there's this whole thing where they're kind of like making fun of her or whatever, and it's like this is what I'm saying is like so much of this, the dialogue and the moods and like the way that characters are acting, it doesn't make any sense. It's like some crazy dude just attacked you on a New York subway, and a woman saved your life, and she's telling you like, I saw it happen before it happened, and like y'all are just like cracking jokes with her.
Not only that, but in the taxi ride while they're driving to the forest, they say, it comes over the radio on the taxi that Madam Web is actually responsible for the kidnapping of those girls. When
it was clear that there was a crazy man in a black costume murdering cops.
That somebody, one of the witnesses would have saw it and reported. But not only that, but it's also clear that any of them could have easily just gone to the police department and just been like, actually, we're here on our own volition. She didn't kidnap us. There's actually an evil guy in a Spider-Man suit.
Yeah, you just say that there was a crazy guy in a mask that killed the cops. And it's like, and if there's like 4 of you,
problem solved.
Yeah, someone is gonna believe you.
Well, I think one of them says something about, well, I don't want to go. If I go, then they're gonna put me in the foster care system. And it's like, my options are the foster care or death.
Yeah, it's stupid. And then
but even still, you could just have the other 2 or whoever, right, go and say, hey, no, they are still running because the evil man in the mask is still chasing them, but we were able to get free somehow, and we just wanted to come here and let you know it's not her that kidnapped us. We left with her on our own volition. It's actually, this bad man that's after us.
Yeah, some logic that definitely could have gotten them out of this situation a lot quicker. Now, for some reason, she has to go back to she's looking for research, right, or like a journal.
Yes. Her mom's journal
that she's never read before. Clearly,
because she's upset at her mom for having her in the Amazon forest.
So stupid.
While she was pregnant, I couldn't get that sentence out. I'm sorry,
bro. And the realization for her later on that fully unlocks her latent abilities. It's basically like, oh, my mom actually loved me, therefore my life matters now. Is like, it's so lazy, dude. I hate it.
I know, man.
So
and then that's when she tries to crawl on the wall,
that real bad angle. Yeah. So the girls, because the plot has to continue to happen and we need something other than them hanging out in the woods, they're like, we need real food. So they go find a diner.
And I love how Toxic starts playing as
yes.
they're
well,
walking.
This was Jake and I were watching this, and I was like, the Toxic starts playing, and then when she has the vision of him he's basically murdering these women to the song Toxic, I was like, oh my lord.
And it's not diegetic at all because they have the Toxic going, but then they have the original score going too.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not diegetic to the movie at all up until they get into the actual diner.
So yeah, they're like, so much. This is when I was telling you, like, a lot of the stuff that happens from the time they're in the woods through most of the diner scene, I was just like, I could care less. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I just love how she happens to find them, and evil Spider-Man dude shows up, and she just ends up screaming.
Yeah, and then they're trying to establish characteristics for these girls because Sydney Sweeney's supposed to be sort of the nerdy, quiet one. Is it Mia? Maddie, excuse me. Maddie's supposed to be sort of the outgoing, rebellious one, and Anya fits somewhere in the middle of that,
Well, Anya's supposed to be the middle, but also the brainiac kind of.
Yeah.
Really into science. She's the Ironheart of this, so to say, cast. And then Julia's the awkward, I'm not hot, she's all that girl. I actually
Which
really
is so
am.
stupid, dude.
And then Maddie is, as you said, the
Sydney,
one that gets in trouble, the kind of degenerate,
casting,
bad girl of the group.
Casting Sydney Sweeney as the ugly duckling it just doesn't work. It does not work. They would have to literally put weird prosthetics on her, that isn't actually the way that she looks, because all they did was what did they do to her? They put, I can't even remember if she has glasses on in this.
Yeah, glasses, and then they
oh yeah, she does have glasses.
They try and make her look plain.
They try, but
it's probably the best cosmetic job in the show.
It's like, oh, we're gonna make her hair a little bit messy and put glasses on her. Isn't she unattractive?
Too much dry shampoo in it.
Yeah. So she gets another vision of the girls getting attacked by Ezekiel, and this is back and forth in the movie. So it does get old,
Yeah.
And so they're doing the whole thing, and then she crashes this car into.
Go ahead. Go. She crashes the car
into Ezekiel, to stop him.
Into not Spider-Man.
And then they get in the car, and let me see if I can find it. Oh no, that's after. But she crashes. Here we go. She crashes the car into him and hits him really hard. And he lives, because I guess whatever, he's got superpowers. He probably would survive. I'm fine with being.
But when he grabs her,
her, he grabs her right here, and somehow she just manages to. It's she just. How does she do that? How does she get away from that? It doesn't make any sense.
I love how
she
basically
just gets away from
how
it,
he
slips right out.
How he ends up finding, how not Spider-Man ends up finding them at the diner is because this dude ended up recognizing them on a newspaper. And so, but in order for that to happen, all these events occurred that day, that would mean that the police department had to put everything out and get, the news together, right? And then it had to go to print. And then for it to go to print, it would have to also be delivered to there somehow, all within that time that they're gone. In order for that to work, I was just rolling at that, and then how he called the cops, and the cops don't show up at all before she gets there.
Yep.
And I understand, like, hey, there's a 10-minute time frame, but more than there's a 10-minute average time for the police to respond, but there's more than 10 minutes in that. And then also she has a stolen taxi that would have been called into. I digress.
Jake and I were talking about that at the end, so we'll talk about the end of that scene. But the fact that the cops didn't show up at all through that final the final act, when they're in the fireworks factory, is insane.
Yes.
That
Hey, at least they're consistent though.
Yeah, true. So we get this thing where she's teaching them CPR to deal because for reasons she realizes that to stop the neurotoxin or whatever you can do CPR. I don't understand the mechanics of that. I think it's one of those moments where it's like, just shut up and believe us. And so that's, what they do in this hotel room.
Because it's for the payoff later when she gets CPR by them.
And she leaves them again to travel to Peru.
With Ben.
Because it's just
Ben, I'm going to put your life in danger by dropping these girls off with you.
Oh, right, for
and
Ben,
then she
that's
just
right.
randomly shows up in the freaking Amazon and finds it, dude. And finds the spot.
No problems. This guy just happens to be there. He's like waiting for her, and it's like, dude, what?
I've been waiting 30 years for
he doesn't. We get no answer questions about like how she ended up there, why they decided to send her back, the whole deal, But she gets it's this magic stuff happens to her, where he magically pushes her back into the pool. And she has a vision where we basically get to see the beginning of the movie over again. And then we get a little bit of extra stuff where it's basically like, oh, my mom actually did care about me. Okay, now I can be a normal person or something. I'm not 100% sure, because they don't do a very good job other than being like, other than telling us like she thinks that her mom hated her or whatever,
right? Of
setting up like the disdain that she has, or like why this is a big like overcoming kind of moment for her.
Agreed.
And then Mary has her water breaks, so they're now forced out of the home. And instead of leaving the girls there, which probably would have been the safer thing to do, the girls have to go with them. And they don't even like really try to hide them either, right? Like the one girl, Maddie, just has like her hood up, but her face is clearly visible, and that's how they get caught. And you would think that wouldn't be the case. Like the
ending is the best for many reasons. Act 3 is superb.
Oh man, Ben is not very smart in this. He does not act. No. He's
been like, you kidnapped 4 girls. That's the report that's out. No, I'm not going to help you. I'm calling the cops right now.
Yeah, you would think that Uncle Ben, who is this like profound character for Peter Parker, even at the age that he's at, he would be showing these like signs of
intelligence.
Just like the kind of person that he is and what he does for people. And you would want to be highlighting that, but he just, they don't do a very good job with his character in this, and he comes off kind of irresponsible. And if you were trying to do like he used to be irresponsible, and then at some point he realizes that he has to step up or whatever, that's fine. This probably isn't even the movie for that. And having him in more than just kind of like, they probably should have kept it more of like a cameo, you know what I mean, instead of giving him like a really kind of like big part in the movie beyond like our main characters. Anyway, she goes to Peru. She comes back from Peru, just in time, of course, right? Like everything works out perfectly for her, as if like planes don't get delayed and traveling isn't a nightmare even in 2003. I mean, this 2003 is right after 9/11.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
things. I don't know, man. So Ezekiel finds them, and she steals an ambulance to go save them, and her vision works out perfectly. And this is one of the scenes that made me laugh really hard. Ezekiel finds him, and he's got this grenade for some reason. He's got a grenade, whatever. And she knows exactly where to go to bust through this Calvin Klein hat. This looks really bad, by the way.
And he jumps up to get hit by it. So
yeah.
it looks like with the editing, if he would just stayed where he was,
would have gone, yeah. But he has to jump up because he has to get hit. And drops his grenade. Dude, when that thing came through there, I was like, what? I don't think that ambulance.
It's not even that. That's the worst part is that's not the most unbelievable part. The most unbelievable part is him jumping up so he could get hit by it.
Yeah. Well, her being.
If he just stayed where he was, he's fine. In that incredibly unbelievable sequence, because I agree with you.
Because it's like everything
the
about
most
it.
unbelievable aspect was the ending.
Yeah, well, the logic in what he was doing, the fact that she was even be able to get any kind of vehicle to crash through that. Why on earth, like, there's anything like the logistics of something being back there is even weird to me. Like, it's a parking deck. But then, like, what she got through the cement? Like, why wouldn't there be a barrier on the other side of that to prevent those kinds of things from happening? The whole like explosion. Oh, even the way she lands, dude, is weird. Now it's actually a practical effect. Like I saw the and the way she drives this thing too. I don't know that, and the ambulance not taking more damage than that is sort of weird to me.
Oh yeah.
I
was too distracted that he jumped up to get hit by the ambulance.
Yeah,
I am reading. I am seeing that right. Like
he jumps up. No, you're absolutely right. He
okay.
He jumps into the ambulance. We'll watch it again. So he lands right. He's got the grenade, and they're all freaking out. And then she goes through. Here's the barrier. This looks like cement to me, by the way.
Oh, it does look like cement. 100%. Oh, you're absolutely correct.
She shouldn't have been able to get through that. It should have stopped her. She crashes through. Because look at it now, right? So here it is. It crashes through like this is just paper, and there was nothing on the other side of that. Comes out at this weird angle, and he jumps up in an attempt to escape, but he's like basically Spider-Man. Like we have to, for the most part, he's basically Spider-Man. And
he's not Spider-Man.
You would think that his senses would at least work in a way that when she crashes through, because there's a decent amount of time from the crash, right? So he turns and he sees her, right? And
he could just gone to the side.
Yeah, and here he is, and you're right. Like
that angle, she's not hitting him.
She's probably not hitting him, and also he could have just moved to the right or left to get out of the way.
Oh yeah, go forward.
He could have dropped the grenade.
Go to that taxi.
Yeah,
right in front of him.
Yeah, dropped the grenade right where he was, accomplished his mission, and gotten out of the way. But he doesn't do that. And yeah, he moves forward in order to jump and get hit by it. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's ridiculous.
I wish the producers could see it in the troll room.
It's like, come on. Yeah, we would love to show you this, guys, but unfortunately, we can't do that. So they chase him. They go to
the factory,
to the explosives factory,
which is just
fireworks. One of my favorite moments from this scene is when there's a helicopter flying around, and one of the many rules in cinema is that if there's a helicopter there, it's probably going to crash at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a helicopter flying around, and a rogue firework hits the tail of this helicopter, and the whole helicopter explodes. And I was like,
that was so great.
I was like, no way.
Dude, I was just sincerely crying in laughter through this film.
Oh.
Where at the theater.
Where she pulls up the piece of like metal or whatever and is blocking these shards from hitting everyone.
And then when she does the she taps into the spider
Oh,
cloud and
dude.
projects herself into 3 different locations to protect all 3 of the females.
Okay, so
the teenage girls.
So each one of the girls is in like a situation of like they're about to die for one reason or another. They're like hanging on and maybe they're gonna fall, or like Ezekiel's like really close to being able to kill them, whatever the case may be. Everyone should have been dead in this scenario because
easily.
Cassie doesn't have powers that would protect her from Ezekiel. He's got super strength. He's fast. He can climb on walls, like the whole deal. He's basically Spider-Man. And then she does this thing where she goes, I can, she taps into the thing like you were saying and like splits herself up. And she saves everyone, and in the middle of the scene, I'm Jake and I are watching this. I'm like, Jake, all of them should be dead. There's no way any of them should be able to survive this. And she does this thing where she does her like little superpower thing, and I'm like, punch her. I'm like, dude, attack her right now. Like, what are you doing?
Yep.
It's clear that she's, just attack her. Just attack her. And he doesn't do it, and he waits till she saves all of them, and then she punches her, or then he punches her, and like knocks her back. And then it's too late because, he gets hit by something, and he falls. Or no, that's her. Never mind. He falls earlier, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He gets killed by the spoiler alert. By the way, we didn't say that earlier. We just assume our producers know that by now. We probably should have.
He gets killed by the advertisement.
By the P
in the Pepsi. He falls, right? Which this fall shouldn't have killed him anyway, right? Because
nope.
He got hit by a car pretty hard earlier.
And I think he fell from a higher building earlier too.
Yeah, I'm also not convinced that would have killed him either.
No, I'm not
either. Not that it matters because we probably will not be seeing a sequel to this.
I mean, he got hit by that freaking ambulance that was going off of, a 3-story building.
Yeah,
at high speed.
Yeah, he's been hit way harder.
Yeah.
Excuse
and
me.
then I love how it's a random firework that goes into the water.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, the fireworks going into the water got me too. I was like, nope, that's not a thing. I'm like, that's not how that works, people. Golly.
Firework blind.
And then of course she gets saved.
Sorry, I can see into, I get flashes of what's going to happen, but I can't see that flash, unfortunately. The one that's going to blind me.
The one that's going to blind me doesn't. Yeah. So
seems like a very sucky superpower. It's very inconsistent.
Peter Parker, who's not named, is then born, and all of the girls are together with Cassie, and they're like, we're family, and all that. And then she has some of the worst looking glasses I've ever seen in my entire life on, like blind people glasses. I'm sure there's a special.
There are people who have blind, David.
Who are people affected by blindness or whatever it is. Excuse me. So they're all like hanging out, and I'm trying to get to this like last little bit because it's a little harder to. Oh, dude, that shot. Oh man, I need to like clip that for a thumbnail.
Dang, man. That would have been great to get that shot and have that be my avatar for tonight.
I'm trying to see.
No, that's the one.
Wait, here we go. We got it. Yeah, that one's pretty good too. Dude, she looks terrible. Oh no, this shot, the big shot of all of them at the end of this.
That's gotta be the worst.
She looks like a ghost.
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, the Spider Woman. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Sony.
I know the framing on the final shot in this movie of all of them in their costumes is really bad too.
Dude, just imagine how bad Batgirl was.
I want to see Batgirl, dude. I would really like to see it.
That got canned, but this didn't.
How? Dude, give us the Batgirl. I want to see it. Come on, cowards.
Got to get that trending.
Put it out on Max. I want to see it. Well, yeah, that's Madam Web. It is it's quite the ride.
Definitely watch it so you can get a good laugh.
Here's the thing. When it's out on streaming, if you got a couple friends that like are into sort of just like schlock like that, it might be worth a watch if you guys are like commenting over it and talking about it and doing all of that. Like that's the only way to really watch this. Like if you're not doing that, it's a hard pass, you know.
Yeah.
You're not missing anything in this. But I will say I never finish. I need to finish Morbius because I do need to compare the two. And then we've got is Craven this year or did that get pushed to next year?
It's this year.
It is this year.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
I hope it keeps getting pushed.
Listen, we're gonna get it's like a trilogy of Spider-Man adjacent movies. So we need to be up to date on all of them so we can discuss after Craven is out where they all kind of fall, you know?
Oh, yes, let's do it.
I think that would be really interesting.
That means I have to watch Venom.
Yeah, Venom's not great. Venom is much better. Venom's. I haven't seen the sequel. Venom is definitely better than this and Morbius.
Okay.
It's at least like a mildly competent movie, you know. Tom Hardy's all right in it, and like his relationship with Venom in the first one's all right. It's really generic, you know. There's nothing like super special about that movie. And Venom shouldn't be in a PG-13 movie. He just shouldn't be.
Yeah. I get you.
It really. I mean, he's like he bites people's heads off. You know, like it just doesn't. There are certain characters and certain. It's like having like if for instance like if the Deadpool movie's PG-13, it's gonna be like, what are y'all doing?
Exactly.
Like it's not that's not that character. It's not what it's meant to be. And if that's what you're trying to do, you really should just find other characters to do that stuff with. That's kind of the biggest problem with Venom is it's really watered down, which was disappointing. Anyway, you got to get caught up on all that. Morbius is on Net. Maybe we need to we just need to get in when you have time. We need to get in Discord and watch Morbius together. And we'll bring Jake.
Oh, yeah.
We'll bring Jake along soon.
That'd be great. We could suffer too.
It. It's so much fun. Yeah, but it's actually a lot of fun to like sit at Discord and like watch those and just like comment about them while you're watching them. It actually helps me with my memory of the stuff too a little bit better.
Oh yeah,
to be able to like talking about it out loud while we're going along. All right. Well, I guess we'll end it there.
Yeah, it would be Halo and Avatar: The Last Airbender for next week.
Yeah, I got to get through. I got a lot of Avatar to watch this week. Though really, it should just be. I'm pretty sure they're only going to do the first season. Like they're only adapting up to the end of the first season.
Oh, nice.
So that at least helps some.
Well, that'll be fun for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all for showing up. This was episode 163 of The Underground. We'll be back next week talking about The Last Airbender and some more Halo, whatever happens next with that. And thank you guys for being here as we go through Madam Web and making all of this possible. So until then, y'all take it easy.
See ya.